Starting off, I know by the title of the video, you guys are gonna say, "Oh my God, there's a PS5 emulator." Yes and no. Gonna tell you why right now. This is SharpEmu. This is an experimental PlayStation 5 emulator for Windows, Linux, and Mac. Now, before you go running to download it, there's a few things here. Of course, you can see the warning here. Currently, the primary development target is Windows. So right now, it's only being developed for Windows. SharpEmu is a experimental PS5 emulator developed from scratch in C number. The core focus is accuracy and infrastructure setup rather than game-specific compatibility. SharpEmu is an emulator project currently in the early stages of development. This project is developed purely for research and education purposes. There are no commercial goals associated with it. We enjoy learning about system architecture and reverse engineering. SharpEmu focuses exclusively on PlayStation 5. Our goal is not to emulate PS4 games, as there is already an excellent emulator dedicated to the platform, which is Chat PS4, which is great. I like Chat PS4, it's just that it's still not 100% there. Same goes for the PS3 one. The emulator can currently load eboot.bin of real games, execute native CPU instruction, and partial handle kernel-related functionality. However, several critical components are still missing. Current capabilities include loading eboot.bin and .elf files, executing native CPU instructions, reading basic game metadata, title, version, etc., loading systems modules, PRX, sys modules, partial support for some kernel functions, fiber and AMPR export, Lego scenarios, initial loading game files, shaders, resources submit, and AGC initial video output in some games. Some games have reached like SCE video out and AGC stages. Currently, the project primarily targets Windows cross-platform, supports Windows and Mac OS is planned, but development is currently focused on Windows, like I said, for Windows right now. So this is what we have right now. You can see that they're trying the Demon's Souls remake. You can see it there with the shaders, the Vulkan, which here is how the code it looks like in PowerShell. As you guys can see here, they are running some games, but the thing is that these games here are not what you expect. You expect Dark Souls, Call of Duties, those type of games. We're not there yet. We're only on these ones right now. So this is gonna take some time. So here you can see the people that are, helping out. Kitty, we'll talk about this one really soon. Ryujinx as well. So, the Ryujinx teams is involved in this from the looks of it as well. So that is pretty good. Now, if you go to the download page, you're gonna see this. There you go. There's the download page. If you guys wanna check it out, go ahead and check it out. But from the looks of it, this isn't gonna be that easy. Now let's move on to Kitty. Kitty PS5. Kitty PS5 is not what you think. It's not an actual emulator. It's a PS5 compatibility layer. The project is still in early stages of development. Some compatibility's limited behavior may change quickly between builds. The reason I'm showing you guys these two together is because if you want to try this out, which I cannot show you how it works because it's only for Windows and I'm a Mac, using the emulator and this together is going to allow you to run more games. The emulator has mainly been tested on NVIDIA GPU support for the GPU vendor, may be incomplete or unstable. The translation layer supports emulation of Zen to PS5 specific instructions such as SSE4A, so Kitty PS5 is expected to run on Intel CPUs as well. Current status: Kitty PS5 can boot and go in game with 2D games and some commercial 3D games. Meaning that if you're thinking of running your Call of Duty, no. You think you're gonna run Uncharted? No. This is still very early, including titles built with Unreal Engine 4 and 5 and Unity, and custom game engines. No LLE modules are currently required. The main priority is improvising compatibility and fixing boot issues. Perfect visual accuracy and high FPS are not the main focus yet. Remember when Chat PS4 came out and people were trying to run Bloodborne and they kept getting a bunch of issues? It would run, but it wasn't displaying the full resolution and it didn't have the correct frame rate. Remember that? Yeah, this is pretty much what you're gonna get into. Kitty PS5 is still in early development, so please keep in mind that when opening issues, crashes, graphic glitches, low compatibility, and poor performance are expected on this stage. Again, I'm gonna say this again, I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but you can download it, you can test it out. Don't expect your favorite games to run with it. Unless it's a game that is gonna be here on this list that I'm gonna show you, don't expect it to run that great. Or don't expect it to run at all. This is still very early. But I'm gonna talk about that pretty soon, don't worry. Running the GUI is the preferred way to run games, but you can also launch them directly by passing the game folder to kittyemulator.exe with the game, and there's the path, right? So here's the screenshot. This is the Sigia 6, and this is what it looks like running on the emulator. Capture in Vulkan, frames 1004 frames per second at 150 milliseconds. But you can see how it's running. It's actually running at 8 frames per second. Yeah, so that is not good. And this is a pretty basic game, you know, from the looks of it. Code of the Lamb. You can see that Vulkan with a 140 millisecond delay and 7 frames per second. So 7 frames per second. And I know what you're gonna say, Zero. Why are you showing us games that are not 3D? Because this is what it can run right now. But other games like this one here, as you guys can see, 119 frames per second. This game actually runs pretty darn well from the looks of it. So if you're want to play Dreaming Sarah 120 frames per second and you don't have a PC and you want that style emulator that you're gonna have to put some work into it, try this one. How about Dead Cells? Well, Dead Cells only runs at 13 frames per second. Yeah. So this is a mixed bag. Silent Hill, well, yeah, that's all you get. Just the screen and 11 frames per second. Cat Quest 3, 14 frames per second. Power Watch. Let's see what Power Watch. I love Power Watch. Oh, okay, for some reason they didn't give any info on this one. I'm guessing Power Watch, I guess it should work. How about Pac-Man? Okay, now we're waiting here. Refresh here. Pac-Man. Yeah, looks like Pac-Man is working. So I'm guessing these two, Power Wash and Pac-Man, seem to be the ones, and Dreaming Sarah are the ones that are actually working pretty well. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be one of those things that some things are gonna work, some things are not. Now, if I show you here are the releases. This is a work in progress. Again, 0.0.3. Meaning there were only 2 versions before you got to this one. Some games have regressed for rather game compatibility of FUT with some graphical issues. Use versions 2 for now. The new update includes the ability to improvement and graphical fixes, improve virtual memory allocation performance resulting in faster game boot times, general emulator optimizing new SRT shaders, binding system, AMPR optimization, thread fixes, new built ABI, UI update, and compatibility database sources from the GitHub release section. So that's pretty much what we have right now. I know some of you are probably gonna be were probably excited to, oh man, I get to play it. And no. Well, yeah, yes and no. It's a mixed bag. Depends on the game. Not everything's gonna run great. Remember, and the thing is, it's not the bottleneck isn't gonna be your PC. It's gonna be how much time and effort this team puts into this emulator, and see if they make it better. It makes that translation layer a lot better. But there's something that I want to say. Guys know what Sony did recently, right? With the whole getting rid of physical media. You don't think that this is a response to that? You don't think that now more people are gonna see these emulators and are gonna start helping to develop this faster? You don't think that given Sony's history, that there won't be a leak at some point in the early future that might give some developer tools that we haven't gotten before for both the PS4 and the PS5, and that might push this forward? In Minecraft, of course. Talking about Minecraft. But yeah, I think this has a good shot of moving forward, of getting pretty big. For myself personally, if they do come out with an emulate, if these things actually do work and we get the Mac versions, I'll definitely test them out, honestly, and see. For PS5, honestly, I have maybe a few games. I would like to play the new Gran Turismo. That would be pretty much it, by not buying a PS5 just for that, But yeah, I can see people really jumping here and having a load of fun because, hey, PS5 emulation, and after Sony messed up, that's what happens. I'm telling you, that's what happens. And right now, it's like the Switch 2 emulation. There's no Switch 2 emulation right now. But if Nintendo comes out tomorrow and says, we're getting rid of physical games too, next Switch won't have a physical card slot, I guarantee you, in a few weeks, there's gonna be a Switch 2 emulator in the works. Because that's normally how it goes. But yeah. And the other thing, like I said, we're probably gonna get more leaks and stuff like that. And before you say, Zero, how do you know about these leaks? Do you know somebody from Leaker? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. So know people from that leak stuff. And you know what? Before Sony or somebody else tries to report this video, that person lives in China. Okay? So, yeah, pretty much, like all the Nintendo leaks that we have gotten and other leaks from the industry, they have all come from China. We know that. The Riddler coup, all those people are from China. We 100% know that. We 100% know that what's going on is that Nintendo, Sony, and all these companies are sending their stuff, their games, to get translated in Chinese, and the people that are translating in them are the ones leaking the information. That's what's going on. It's that easy when it comes to the games. It's that easy. And when it comes to the development tools and all that, is where they're... You make the games in China, China's gonna copy them. I'm surprised China hasn't come out with a console. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens in the near future. A console that can play all the games, and then they release it only in China, but then they do something with Temu, so Temu can ship them to the US, and you have one console that can play all three of the consoles. Hey, somebody on YouTube already did that, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that. But yeah, this is exciting. Honestly, more emulators just means that more games are gonna get preserved, and more games are gonna be you're gonna be able to play more games. But again, this is really early. Give it time. Give it time. If you download it and you use it, and if you enjoy it and you get to play your favorite game that you want to play, all the power to you. Let me know down in the comments below, because like I said, it's still pretty early. Pretty early. And the thing is that these games are not even running at a PS4 level, you know, of performance. So I'm guessing, you know, like Chat PS4, you know, that Chat PS4 now can play the games like a PS4 Pro. Meaning that if you have a pretty good PC, it is gonna run even better. But this is gonna start as a normal, you know, once they get it up and running and everything seems to be pretty good, and you get like, I don't know, let's say like 25% of the library of the PS5 running, it's probably gonna be running the games like a normal PS5. But I do expect that later on, for the same thing that happened to Chat PS4 to happen here, where it can actually play the games as a PS4 Pro, meaning that if you have a high-end PC, it's gonna run even better. So yeah, I think I spent quite a bit of time here in this video. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.